All right. So I'm just gonna jump on here and start jamming on the hands down the most abused animal on the planet. You're looking at the the chicken, the egg, and we're gonna talk all things eggs because I really find it fascinating, just from where I came from. And as far as eating eggs, I mean, you're looking at a guy that ate tons and tons of eggs. And it's been, I'd say a couple months since I've had eggs. I think my wife last had eggs on Mother's Day. That's the last time, 2019. And so this is very recent, but it just goes to show you how far off we were in all of this and what we're blind to. And so what I want to do is I want to open up people's eyes to, realistically, number one, from a health perspective. And this is where it all started from. This is absolutely where it all started from as far as nutrition. Let me try to fade this here. And, this starts from a health perspective. All right, so we're just gonna jam on this, and the most abused animal on the face of this planet is pretty incredible to me. And had a real. I think a lot of people had a hard time giving up eggs. I mean, eggs. It's the traditional breakfast. I mean, look right here. Eggs, bacon. Like This is what I've eaten. This is what we've all eaten. Can't say all, because no longer, or because we no longer. But there is so many people that have this breakfast, even for brunch. I mean, there's so many eggs and bacon, and we're just essentially blind. We're not looking. We're numb to the fact of, first from a health perspective, then from a overall, like, oh my gosh, there's a whole. This is an industry, and the industry is terrible, and the numbers are extraordinary. The numbers are they're so far unbelievable. When you see this, like, it almost, it's so crazy that, like, you really can't comprehend. And I think that's the problem. I think the problem is, for so many people, it is so overwhelming that we have no idea how to handle it. And so we just continue to do it, and, like, we just put blinders on, and we just continue to just, like, contribute to this. And you have to, there has to be a point where you say, like, oh my gosh, like, you have to look at this and be like, there's no possible way that this makes sense. There's just no possible way that this makes sense. And so the longest time, and eggs were, like, literally the one of the last things that we've given up. And it just so happened recently, and so this is why we're getting loud about it, because now we're at a place where we've been through everything that you're about to go through. We've been through that, like, that whole transition process, from start to finish, going from eating meat, like, literally every day, multiple times a day, to not eating meat ever again. It's a journey, and it is a long. I mean, it's a fun journey, and we're here to help people in that transition process and to get them thinking differently, right? And so, but it's been so awesome. The amount of learning that takes place, the amount of, it's a lot to sink in. It's a lot to kind of handle. Because I thought veganism, these people are just so extreme, and they got it wrong, or really didn't think about it. But when you start to understand, or something hits you, right, like either a fact or a movie, a documentary, a video, a picture, these talks, whatever, something will trigger, man, and it will get you thinking deeper. It'll get you thinking, like, man, do we have this backwards? And so I want you to keep an open mind throughout all the stuff that we put out, and all the information. And I think a lot of people are going to hit the mute button, right? They're not going to want to see this, they're not going to want to look at this, they're not going to want to hear this. But this is a huge part of number one, how this makes it, this part of talking about it makes it so much easier to just push in the healthier way. And it just makes so much sense, not only chickens, but dairy and meat, like, the whole industries, right? And what you're going to find is that we always will fall back on what grows from the earth. It is all about the plants. And there is so much evidence about a plant-based diet. Like, we can take control of our health. Like, we've been lied to. We are actually getting poisoned. Like, we are getting hurt by the things that we're consuming. So we can all take care of this ourselves. We can help stop this. It's going to take many years. This is not a long, this is not a, this whole process is definitely not like a get quick. Your whole health journey is not a get quick either, but it's a whole nother level to start to change, the entire world. But just think about this. It's not been too long ago since we've talked about slavery, or since white people thought they were better than black people, or at least things in place that made that true. And now obviously there's things in place that make us humans over these chickens and what they do to this. It is absolutely astonishing what I'm about to share with you. Like, it's crazy. And I think if you think about the number, if you think, I hope this resonates with you. But I'm just going to, I want to find the number actually, and then I'm going to put it up there, or I'm just going to say it. I think when you hear the number of, and kind of what happens if you're born into this industry as a male chick, when you're born into the industry, or when you're born and you come out and you're a male, you, like, a day old, like, you immediately jump right into this conveyor belt, and they masquerade you, and they chop you up, literally. Like, you fall from a conveyor belt into, like, these blades, and in it, like, essentially, like, that's it. Like, that's the industry. And when you see it, you may not, like, you don't want to look at it. You certainly don't want to look at it. But you have to. It's part of it. Like, it's real. And we have to start looking at this. And the number is crazy. And so let me, I can't share this. I'm going to pause. All right, so just added a picture of a chick grinding machine. And this is called chick culling. And when you really start to understand this, it's like, dude, you like, how can you, like, you have to stop this. Like, it doesn't make sense anymore at some point. And so I think when you hear a number, I think absolutely for one of you that hear this, like, you're going to stop and think, like, whoa, wait a second. Like, what happens? Like, I'm not sure people know that this actually even happens, because we're just turning a blind eye. In fact, when I get back to our another daily or a dairy edition of our little videos of our video segment, you're going to see, our children, our kids are going to these dairy things, and they're saying, like, oh, what's your favorite dairy product? And, like, you just gotta understand that they're able to do these things because the money's back, the government's back, and these things, it's now in our schools. But we really have to understand, and it's a lot to take on. But back to this chick culling. It's a process of killing newly hatched poultry for which the industry has no use. So if you're a male, right? Like, so if you get born, you come out, like, and, like, you hatch and you're a male, there's no shot. Like, you literally get put on a belt and you're gone, in a sense. You're cold. You're chick cold. It's called masquerading. And, like, it is incredible that this is even, like, allowed, or that people can actually do this. Like, we've become so numb that we can do this. And so I'm not going to show any videos up here of it, but when you see the videos of it, and I encourage you to watch it, I may post it, but I'm not going to do it yet. But I encourage you to watch these videos. of it happening, because I think something happens when you connect it, when you connect the dots and you connect and you say like, wow, we just have to stop contributing to this whole thing that is going on before, like, and the amount is astonishing. Is that Pebs? The amount is incredible. And so boom, right here. So now these chicks, you can see they're on a conveyor belt. So if you're a male chick and you're born, like, hoop, you get tossed onto this conveyor belt and off you go. And I'm not going to show you a picture of what's on the outside of, or what's below. So right under here, right? Like right under here, these aren't like, I'm not going to be able to catch these chicks like this. Like under here, these are blades that are going to chop up anything that falls off this conveyor. Like that can't be, that can't be allowed. Like there's no way that makes sense, that's a thing. Like, just, it doesn't. All right, so, and I added another picture right here, where like that's where they're going. I mean, that's it. So if you get born, if you're my man, like, so do it for the male chicks, like do it for the chicks. Like my homies right here, they're going, like, they're on this belt, and like they're pretty much, there's no use for them. The industry has no use for them, and so they're created. But you can't tell me that makes sense. You cannot tell me that what we're doing makes sense to still do, like, to still consume these things. So we have to put a stop to it. But let me get the number for you. The number is it's crazy. It's astonishing. It's, and when you start to think about it, it's like, you don't want eggs anymore. No. Look at this. In the U.S., 9 billion. Oh, this is not okay. These are the chickens. I'm not. I'm just talking about the chicks. There we go. So here. Oh, this is good information. Here we go. So here's some numbers. Okay. 250 million. 250 million male chicks born to hens in the U.S. egg industry each year. So they're basically trashed. Also, by the way, if this chick goes and they go, like, guess what happens to her beak? So her beak right here, they break it. They basically chop it off, so that, to minimize like the pecking that they, because if some of them get, they're so close, they minimize the damage, so they chop off their beak, part of their beak. Not cool. But see, 6 to 12 years. See, I'm not getting the number really. I think it's 250 million. I mean, think about that number. So 250, 1, 2, 3, that's 250,000. 1, 2, 3, 250 million chicks, male chicks, each year in the U.S. I think it's U.S. Up to 40. No, see, I think it's, yeah, we're going to go with 250 million. Divide that by 365. So daily, like 684,000 homies gone. So, you know, we've came pretty far. We've came very far, but once you understand that the numbers, you can't contribute to this, that in effect, like that in addition to the health, like there's just so many more reasons that you're, you know, just continue to listen, you know, and continue to just have an open mind and just think about it, you know, any one of these ways, right? We didn't even talk environmentals of what's happening, but just from a health perspective is where we first started. It's a first from a health perspective, and then it goes into like this stuff for us. Now, some people come at it from a different way. They go for the animals first, and that's perfectly fine. However, you can get and understand that this industry, like we can't continue to support this. Like we just can't. It makes no sense. Like we have this one wrong. If you can show, to be kind, this is not being kind to any living thing, and it just we can't do it. And so, and this, if you think about chicken, like how, like not even from the eggs. I mean, and a lot of us think like eggs are different from a chicken. It's obviously all starts in this process, and during this process, this is all the money involved. These are all the things that are happening, and is it worth it? Like, is it worth contributing to this and what's the reason? What is the real reason on why we're consuming eggs? Like, do you think that you need eggs? Is it something that you're unwilling to give up? And why? And we really have to touch on those parts. Like we have to touch on, you know, does it make sense? Is it good for us? And I think once we understand that, let's not kid ourselves. Let's get into the mindset of these eggs are not healthy. You know, you can talk about, you know, they have healthy properties, or they're good for our bodies, or, you know, protein or what have you. Like it has so much in it because these eggs are actually made, like it's to grow a chicken, to grow to grow. It has everything it needs inside that to grow a chicken. You know, like all of the parts, like the main parts, the heart, the liver, the kidneys, right? The eyes, the brain, like everything is in that egg. And then we just go ahead and, you know, make it a whole process, make it about our taste. Like our eggs are so good. Scrambled eggs, like kids, this is your brain on drugs. Like we got that backwards, man. I mean, like we got this one wrong as far as this whole industry, what's happening, you know, and the best option, like the main thing is just not contribute to it, because ultimately if we continue to buy these things, or if we continue to support these industries, or, you know, these things, it's just going to continue to roll. It's going to continue to roll. And like, if you think about it, are we doing the right thing? Like, is it worth it? Is it worth contributing to what's going on? And, you know, from the same point, understand that from a health perspective, eggs are not good. So we have to get over the fact of like eggs are healthy. Like eggs are, you know, it's a good, healthy option. Oh, egg whites, like it's still an egg. Like we have to stop this thought.